Welcome to 𝗪𝗪𝗥𝗟𝗗 Conservatory, the voice of the East, the voice of 𝗪𝗥𝗥𝗟𝗗 from the Asia Pacific. We bring you the gospel of the kingdom as a testimony to all the nations of the world. The very purpose of this channel is to shed light into some of the most pressing issues confronting humanity since time immemorial. The story traces back to the events in the Garden of Eden, but we will not come to that right now. If you are a preacher, a pastor, a minister, or simply a Bible enthusiast, then this is the right starting point of your study. You should realize that the Bible is a book of history and a projection into the future. The Bible is about a certain group of chosen people, their kingdom, and the covenant being the foundation of that kingdom. Let me clarify to everyone, 𝗪𝗪𝗥𝗟𝗗 Heritage Conservatory is not a religion or sect because we do not preach a doctrine. Instead, we teach about the kingdom, which is the center point of the whole Bible. We do not intend to discriminate others, but we are going to present historical and archaic information that will help you understand the roots of what is happening today, as it will help everyone to understand the future. Let us go to the main points of this presentation. Once again, look at yourself in front of a mirror. If your skin color belongs to the blackish brown, to the lighter tones of the East Asians, then our messages should resonate with you. Keep your mind open. We strongly advise, at least for a while, set aside your prejudices and religious doctrines in order to understand this video. This is a very objective and factual analysis of the historical accounts written in the Bible as a book of history. Let us look at it that way. We will help you understand who you are and what lies ahead for you and your descendants. Your decision and actions today will determine your future. It has been that way since the beginning of time. Remember this proverbial saying, what has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 9. Before you forget, click the subscribe button just below the video. It is crucial to know who your ancestors are and learn where they were supposed to be going. The way has been charted for them by the ancient sages and prophets according to the covenant. This covenant is the foundation that should have established your kingdom. Talking about the history of humanity, the most reliable information is found in the compilation of books, which is wrongly called the Bible. Genesis provided the historical information as to the beginning of humanity and how the world was divided for their descendants, which later became nations, countries, and geopolitical blocks of today. This video is entitled, The World's Family Tree and Territories. For purposes of clarity, I am going to divide this topic into two parts. The first part is an overview of the family tree or genealogies. The second part would be about the territories assigned to the three major branches of the family tree. If you skip the word family tree, from which nations and kingdoms originated, you will never understand the book of Revelation. After we have presented this genealogy and territories, you will understand why we have all these troubles, the conflicts of many nations today. These troubles, chaos, and wars erupted because humanity violated the world territories as defined and assigned by Noah. Let us begin at the table of nations found in Genesis chapter 10. Now, these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and unto them were sons born after the flood. So Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The sons of Noah had sons after the flood. Verse 2. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, and Magog, and Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshech, and Tiras. Now, listen and watch very carefully. Verse 2 presented personalities whose descendants will play a critical role in the last days, as presented in the book of Revelation and other parts of the scriptures. Pay close attention to Gomer and Magog. Always remember and never forget, Gomer and Magog are sons of Japheth. They are Japhethites. Verses 3 and 4. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Riphath, and Togarmah. And the sons of Javan, Elisha, and Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. Now, I want you to pay close attention again to Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. They are the sons of Gomer and are grandsons of Japheth. Don't forget these personalities because they will play a major role in the last days as presented in the book of Revelation. Collectively, the descendants of Japheth are called Japhethites. Now, listen carefully and learn what they are called in the Bible. Let us continue reading to verse 5. By this were the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, after their families, in their nations. It is very clear the descendants of Japheth or the Japhethites are the so-called Gentiles in the Bible. Never ever forget that. Whenever and wherever you encounter the word Gentiles in the Bible, they are the descendants of Japheth, the Japhethites. Verse 5 stated, the Gentiles occupy the isles. Which isles or islands? What part of the world was given to the Gentile Japhethites as their territory? Those questions will be answered in our future upcoming videos. For the meantime, let me give you a preview of what the Gentiles had done. Luke chapter 21, verse 24, NIV. They will fall by the sword and will be taken as prisoners to all the nations. Jerusalem will be trampled on by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. This verse predicted and described what will happen to Jerusalem and the Israelites in the hands of the Gentiles. This is a geopolitical event wherein the Gentiles will possess the holy city of Jerusalem. Who are the Gentiles again? According to the genealogy presented in Genesis, they are the descendants of Japheth, the Japhethites. In our future videos, you will discover more interesting information about these Gentiles and what they will do in the last days according to the book of Revelation and other prophecies. Now, let us talk about Ham and his descendants. These are the Hamites. Verse 6 onwards. And the sons of Ham, Cush and Mizraim, and Put and Canaan. And the sons of Cush, Seba and Havilah, and Sabta and Raama, and Sabteka. And the sons of Raama, Sheba and Dedan. I want you to pay attention to Canaan because Canaan became the enemies of Jacob's Israel. Very few realized that the conflict between Jacob's Israel and Canaan persisted to the present and will persist and culminate in the very near future. Again, that issue is of extreme geopolitical significance that every Bible enthusiast should understand. Now, let us also notice Havilah and Sheba, who descended from Cush. Be careful not to confuse them with the Havilah and Sheba who descended from Shem. Havilah and Sheba of the Hamites are different from the Havilah and Sheba of the Shemites. They are not one and the same personalities. Please do not interchange. Let us continue with the descendants of Cush. And Cush begat Nimrod, and he began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before Yahweh, wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod the mighty hunter before Yahweh. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. Out of that land went forth Ashur, and builded Nineveh, and the city Rehoboth, and Calah, and Resen between Nineveh and Calah. The same is great city. And Mizraim begat Ludim, and Ananim, and Lehabim, and Naptuhim, and Patrusim, and Casluhim, out of whom came Philistim, and Capturim. I want you to pay attention to Nimrod because he was the one who founded the Babylonian civilization in Shinar or Mesopotamia, the Fertile Crescent. You will discover in later videos how Nimrod and Canaan played in tandem against the Israel of Jacob. Does the Babylonian civilization of Nimrod still exist today? Yes. In the book of Revelation, the descendants of Jacob, who were called my people, is commanded to come out from Babylon. We will come to that again in the future videos. Meanwhile, let us focus on the genealogy. Verses 15 to 20. And Canaan begat Sidon his first son, and Heth, and the Jebusites, and the Amorite, and the Girgasite, and the Hivite, and the Arkite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zemorite, and the Hamathite. And afterward were the families of the Canaanites is spread abroad. And the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon, as thou comest to Gerar, and to Gaza, as thou goest unto Sodom and Gomorrah, and Admah, and Zeboim, even unto Lasha. These are the sons of Ham after their families, after their tongues, in their countries, and in their nations. Before we proceed, let me remind you once again, pay close attention to the sons and descendants of Canaan. Many Bible scholars thought that Canaanite encounter with Joshua mentioned in the Bible is a thing of the past. They don't realize that it was only the beginning. The enmity between the Canaanites and the Israelites had taken a different form and persisted to the modern history even today, and will culminate in the near future to fulfill what is written in the book of Revelation. Modern political analysts failed to realize the geopolitical significance because they have no knowledge about its deeply embedded biblical roots in ancient Babylon, in Shinar, or Mesopotamia right after Noah's flood. That conflict was simply reignited when the Israelites came out from Egypt and drove away the Canaanites during the time of Joshua. More about this in our future videos. Meantime, let us go back to the world's family tree. Now, let us talk about the descendants of Shem, the Shemites, also known as Semitic people. Verse 21 onwards. Unto Shem also, the grandfather of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth the elder, even to him were children born. The children of Shem, Elam, and Ashur, and Arphaxad, and Lod, and Aram. And the children of Aram, Uz, and Hul, and Gether, and Mash. So, the sons of Shem were Elam, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lod, and Aram. Of high significance is the bloodline of Arphaxad, because the major events in the Bible run through his bloodline. Verse 24, and Arphaxad begat Sala, and Sala begat Eber. Before we continue reading, let me inform everyone that Eber or Heber is the father of all Hebrews. Take note that Eber descended from Shem. Therefore, all Hebrews are Shemites or Semitic people. Let us continue. Verse 25. And unto Eber were born 2 sons. The name of the one was Peleg, for in his days was the earth divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. Now, let me explain this. Eber had 2 sons, Peleg and Joktan. This means that the Hebrews can be patriarchally traced back either from Peleg or Joktan. All of their descendants are the Hebrews mentioned in the Bible. Now, who are the Hebrews that descended from Joktan? And Joktan begat Almodad, and Sheleph, and Hazarmavet, and Jira, and Haduram, and Uzal, and Dikla, and Obal, and Abimael, and Sheba, and Ophir, and Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan, and their dwelling was from Mesha, as thou goest unto Sephar, a mount of the east. Those are the Hebrew descendants of Joktan, and their dwelling place was in Mesha, as far as the lands and countries towards the east. That is the eastern part of Asia. Note, Mesha is a place in what is known today as Iran. As early as now, it is very clear that the people in the eastern part of Asia, the Oriental race, are Hebrew descendants of Shem, son of Noah. As such, the Oriental race are also Shemites or Semitic people. I will talk about the Hebrews of Eastern Asia in our future videos. Let us go back to the Hebrews of Western Asia. These are the descendants of Peleg. Why? Because Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, King David, and most importantly, the Messiah of the Hebrews, they all descended from Peleg. These biblical characters are Shemites or Semitic people. In other words, they are Asians. Let us continue. Genesis chapter 11, verse 18 onwards. When Peleg had lived 30 years, he became the father of Reu. When Reu had lived 32 years, he became the father of Serug. When Serug had lived 30 years, he became the father of Nahor. When Nahor had lived 29 years, he became the father of Terah. After Terah had lived 70 years, he became the father of Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. Very clear. Abraham descended from Peleg. Therefore, Abraham is a Hebrew Shemite. All peoples and nations descending from Abraham are all Hebrew Shemites, just like those descended from Joktan that occupy the eastern part of Asia. They are all Hebrew Shemites. Let us focus on Abraham. The firstborn son of Abraham was Ishmael through Hagar, his wife's servant. Genesis chapter 16, verse 15. So Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram gave the name Ishmael to the son she had born. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore him Ishmael. Let us talk about Ishmael. Abraham is a Hebrew Shemite, while according to Genesis chapter 16 verse 1, Hagar is Egyptian, a Hamite. Therefore, Ishmael and his descendants is a combination of Hebrew Shemite and Egyptian Hamite bloodlines. We will talk about the descendants of Ishmael in our future videos. Just bear in mind, Ishmael also possessed a Hebrew Shemite blood. Therefore, Ishmaelites, the Islam or Muslim countries, are brothers of the Hebrew Shemites through Abraham. Let us continue with the descendants of Abraham through his wife Sarah. Genesis chapter 21 verse 5. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. Then Isaac had two sons, Esau and Jacob. I am not going to focus on the somewhat mysterious or missing descendants of Esau, but they are still there and right now are active players in the geopolitical arena. But we will talk about them in the future. Meantime, I will focus on the descendants of Jacob due to the following reasons. Number 1, the descendants of Jacob holds the covenant given by our Almighty Father through Moses. Number 2, our Messiah and upcoming King of Kings descended from the Israel of Jacob. Number 3, the third reason, the coming kingdom will be established because of the covenant with the Israelites of Jacob. The coming kingdom will be established according to the covenant with the Israel of Jacob. The above reasons are actually the bedrock, the bottom line of all the geopolitical chaos we experience today that will culminate in the very near future. Among the 12 tribes of Israel, the most significant tribes are the tribe of Judah, the so-called Jews, and the other one is the tribe of Levi, from where Moses, the Levites, and the Levitical priesthood descended. Before we end this video, let us once again recall and wrap up the family tree of the world. Here are the Japhethites, prominent personalities. Japheth, son of Noah. The sons of Japheth, Gomer or Gog, Magog, others, Togarma and Ashkenaz. They are the Gentiles according to the table of nations presented in Genesis. Here are the Hamites, descendants of Ham, son of Noah. Significant personalities to watch out. Number 1, Canaan. The Canaanites persecuted the Israel of Jacob in the past, during the modern history, and they will persecute in the future according to the book of Revelation. Number 2, Nimrod. Nimrod established the Babylonian civilization, including religions. Collectively, the civilization is called Mystery Babylon in the book of Revelation. Here are the Shemites, descendants of Shem, son of Noah. They are the Hebrews that occupied the Shemite territory from the east to the west. If you know your ancestors in the family tree, you will know what lies ahead in the very near future. Looking forward to our next video, we will present which parts of the world are assigned to the descendants of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. You will understand your position, where you belong in the family tree, what belongs to you, and what awaits you in the future. For only then, you will have a deeper understanding of what is going on today in the geopolitical arena that began since time immemorial after the flood. See you again on our next video. Be blessed. Shalom.